Are you making high quality, killer content, but nobody ever sees it? It could be one of two things. It could be either your title or it could be your YouTube thumbnail. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video tutorial, we are going to talk about just that. We are going to discuss YouTube thumbnails, why they're important, and why you need to make it look as professional as humanly possible in order to gain the trust of the viewer and the click. So before we get started in Canva here, we're going to take a look at the absolute master, one of, if not the best, at designing thumbnails that are clickable, that are enticing, sometimes even clickbaity. We're talking about none other than Mr. Beast. So let's go over here to Mr. Beast's YouTube page. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all of his thumbnails, and I want you guys to take a look and in your mind think about, is there something he has in common with a lot of his thumbnails? Not every one of them, but a lot of them. So I'm just going to scroll down real quick. So as we take a look, they're very bright, they're very visual, and if there's one thing that you guys notice, and I noticed too, is the biggest thing that stands out to me, there's hardly any, if not any, there's no text on any of his thumbnails. So when you start thinking about why is that, why does he not have text on his thumbnails? Wouldn't you think that would be good for SEO? That would be good for telling the viewer what the video is about? So he obviously is doing something right. He has over, 157 million subscribers. So that's the first clue, the first secret. So no text on the thumbnail. And while I don't 100% agree with not having any text, I would definitely say the first tip is to not have more than max 3 words of text on your thumbnail. So let's dive right in. I'm going to give you an example here of a thumbnail that I created recently for one of the videos that I published. So this is an example of a thumbnail in Canva that I created. And the really cool part about Canva is if you see a thumbnail that you like, but it doesn't exactly have all the pieces that you want, all the pieces or maybe like all the elements of the thumbnail, you can absolutely mix and match, add, and do anything that you want in terms of creating the custom thumbnail that you want, a perfect thumbnail in your mind. So the first thing that I did was I'm going to go down and you can see recently used. So what I did was I'm going to hit add a page real quick. So this is the original thumbnail that really struck my mind for this video. So I didn't necessarily like the two images. They weren't relatable to the video itself. So the first thing that I did was I went in and I clicked on it and I hit delete. So I deleted the actual image. So what you can see behind the image itself is a frame. So it's like a frame or a grid. So it basically is that kind of cartoony look. Whereas you can put an image, you can put your own image inside of that kind of separated space to give it a more custom look. And I didn't like the way that I like the text here, but I didn't like the names. Obviously, the names aren't going to line up with my video. So I left them there temporarily because I know I wanted to have some kind of text on there. So, and I just liked the way that the background looked with the big verses and like this neon color. I thought it really popped really well. So the next thing I did was I said, okay, so I have the background, but I want this to be about, it was a video about AI. So I really, really liked this thumbnail right here, but I didn't like this part right here. I thought this text looked pretty basic, pretty plain. This looked pretty kind of cheesy to me, so I didn't like this, but I really, really liked this. So I wanted the graphic image of the robot, but I didn't want any of this. So instead of feeling like I was stuck, I decided to add a new page to the foundation of the thumbnail that I wanted to create. So I just created a new page right here, and it just adds the same dimensions. So because we're dealing with YouTube thumbnails, they're all going to be the same. So what I did was I took the AI image right here, I right click and I hit copy. And then what you can do is you can click in any page, right click and then click paste, and you can drag this around wherever you want. So that was really cool. So knowing that I could drag this image around. So what I actually did was this like that. So what I did was I took this and I right clicked and I hit copy again. and then I went up here to my main thumbnail, the foundation, and I clicked the right click the mouse and then hit paste. So all I have to do is click with your left mouse button and drag it in to the frame. And where do you want to put it? What side do you want to put it on? So what you can do is you can see the robots, the face is a little bit off to the left. I didn't like it how there is so much wires and stuff on this side. So if you double click on this image, what you can do is hold your left mouse button down and you can drag it over. And so you can center it a little bit more. So then you click anywhere off the image and that's what becomes of the image. So you have part of a totally separate YouTube thumbnail, and you took that image and you added it as a layer into this frame of this one. And so the next thing that I wanted to do was, I knew that I wanted to have some sort of a human element, but I couldn't find like a really high quality, image of a human. So I decided to do a search in Canva for human AI. So I found this one. And once again, this is a lot of text. I didn't want to use this thumbnail itself, but I knew I wanted to use this image. So I was happy that you could click on this little blue circular thing and hit delete, because I didn't want that part in the image because I thought that was a little cluttered. So once again, I'm going to click on this where the image is, the picture, right click and click copy. Then I'm going to scroll up here and I right click and I hit paste. So once again, you paste the image as a layer over your thumbnail. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold down the left mouse button and we're going to drag it in and then let go of the left mouse button. So now what we have is we have these two images that are from totally different thumbnails that are layered on top of this one customizable thumbnail that we're building. So, and once again, you can double click this and you can drag it around, you can move it however you want, left or right, however you think it looks good. And then obviously these two lines of text, I just changed it to AI, robot, and human in terms of being the descriptor. I thought it looked a little neat leaving it as a diagonal into the image. So that's pretty much it. I mean, this as a thumbnail in itself, I thought there's a couple things to this. There's a very little amount of text. I thought it popped with the two images and the verses. It kind of grabs your attention and you're not really sure what it's about. You're like, okay, there's a robot and there's a picture of a human. What is this about? Let me click to see what this is going to be about. I'm intrigued by this image. So that's the thought process and the design process that I went through to create this thumbnail itself, this YouTube thumbnail. So we're going to go through and I'm going to take you over here and we're going to do a search for thumbnails, for YouTube thumbnails. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of free thumbnails. So all you got to do is type in free YouTube thumbnails and then hit enter. And so as you're scrolling through, and this, you can absolutely use this on a Canva free account. So what we're looking for is, there are a couple, if you see this little crown in the bottom right corner, it does indicate that you need to have a pro account, but that's okay. So the majority of these that come up are free, are absolutely free. So you don't need to have a pro account. If you see a thumbnail that you want that is pro, you can always go to joincanva.com and you can get a 30-day free trial if you'd like to try it out. It's not necessary. You can absolutely do this for free. So you can scroll down and let's take a look. Let's say like you're going to, let's see, how about we do how about this one? We'll pull this one up. Okay, so this has got a pretty good background, a background that pops pretty good. It's got an image of a guy here, but there's a lot of text and a lot of clutter, in my opinion. So if we were to go back to what Mr. Beast has on his page, as you can see, that's way too much text on the thumbnail that we chose. Excuse me. So what we're going to do is, let's actually choose a different thumbnail. So I like this one because it has an image of a girl who clearly has some kind of a shocking face. Excuse me. So that's a good clickable, clickbaity type image that you want to have on your thumbnail. Something that really, you want to evoke some sort of interest or emotion or intrigue. You want to when people are scrolling on YouTube, you want them to stop instantly on your thumbnail and you want them to say, I wonder what that's about. So that's a combination of the thumbnail and the title. So we can actually go through and customize this one. So what we're going to do is, to me, I think this word down here, this is too much. I'm going to delete this. And then I don't really like the emoji. I think it's kind of cheesy. It doesn't look very professional in my opinion. So I'm going to delete that. So these things are okay around here, but I would say depending on what your video is about, I would probably not have all three of these. Maybe just do, perhaps maybe two of these. So unless you have something that's like 3 words long, like for example, we could say something like, earn maybe like, how about $1,000 a month. And then we could say something like overnight. So this isn't the best example because that's still a lot of text, but that's something in terms of giving the viewer something that they can actually look forward to. And you don't want to lie in your thumbnail. You don't want it to be too clickbaity where they click it because of the thumbnail and it's not, the video is not, it pertains to nothing like what the thumbnail says it's going to be. So you don't want to lead somebody on because you would think if it's clickbait, they're going to click it, but and that might be true. They might click it, but they only might stay on there for a couple seconds if they find out that what they think they're clicking on is not accurate or true. So you can even just do something like getting rid of the whole thing, and you can maybe just have maybe just have the one bar right here, and you could say something like we could actually copy this and paste it, so we could have two. And we could do, let's see. Then we could go into the text and we could say add a heading over here. And then we can make this white, the text white. So, okay. And then we can just type in whatever you want. So we can just say maybe like, I don't know, passive income. And then you can twist it a little bit. And then let's put this kind of in the middle. Passive income tricks. And then we want to make this white and make this really big. Okay. And then we can shrink that a little bit. So this would be an example of, I wouldn't necessarily leave this tricks on here. Something like this, it seems pretty simple, but you want it to be visually appealing and visually stunning, but you don't want it to be too overbearing. So we're going to go back over here to Mr. Beast and we'll just scroll down. His images are very clear. They're very descriptive as far as when you take a look at the image, you can actually see the message he's trying to convey, the video is going to be about. So this is a great example of someone who you can use as a guide to say, okay, this is what he's doing. He's the highest YouTuber in the world, so he obviously knows what he's doing. So that's pretty much it for creating the YouTube thumbnail. I hope you guys found this useful and helpful and beneficial, and hopefully it was enough of a guide to where you could at least get a sense of maybe some thought process on how you want to approach creating a thumbnail. Why it's important to not have it cluttered with text, and less is more. Absolutely. Less is more. Make it as minimal as possible, but also visually appealing and stunning. So if you like this video, would you please consider hitting the like button, giving it a thumbs up, and also please consider subscribing. That would greatly help the channel. Until next time, be well, be safe. Thank you.